Well, good afternoon. We're back out in the shop again today, doing some more work on the Camaro project. Didn't get as much done today as what I was hoping, but I guess it is what it is. But we do have the whole fuel system on the car now. I got the black electric Holley pump mounted. I got the two filters, one before and after the pump hooked up. The line from the tank to the first filter and from the second filter up to the regulator all hooked up. I got the regulator mounted here on the inner fender. I got my dash 8 line run to my carburetor. That's a bit, I thought it was going to be a bit long, but it didn't work out too bad, because now I came down, and now what I'll get is I'll get a nice cushion clamp, and I'll drill a hole and mount the cushion clamp holding the fuel line to the fan shroud, and I got the line hooked up to my fuel log. So I got dash 8 the whole way to the carburetor. The only thing I have to do on the fuel system now is right here. This is 3/8 pipe thread bushed down to 1/8 inch for my fuel pressure gauge. That was mounted over there on the cowl, but I think I'm going to avoid that for now. And I think I'm just going to I'm going to put a T here, and I'll put a small gauge here underneath the hood, and then I'll put a 1/8 inch pipe plug on this end, and then later on, if I do decide to put a gauge over on the cowl again, it'll be ready to go. Just a matter of taking the plug out and hooking up the line. But I may look into an electric fuel pressure gauge to have in on the dash. They're pretty pricey, but I think it'll be better than having something out on the cowl. So we got that done, and we got the header here on the left side. On the right side, I should say, the passenger side. Boy, that fits some nice. I guess it falls under the category of you get what you pay for. It went right down in place, even without taking out the plugs. As you can see, there's all kinds of room. Before putting the header on, I put my dash 6 braided stainless transmission lines on, and I ran them inside along the oil pan, similar to the copper or steel would be on a factory car. But that's a bit tight in there with the starter and stuff in there. Now that I know I have all of this room, I'll now route them out here along the frame rail, and then bring them up to my cooler. But that's what mocking things up first is all about. You learn all these things for final assembly. And speaking of mocking things up, it's a good thing this isn't final assembly, because I also got on the went out in the shed, and I got my 2-groove crank pulley. It has a little bit of a wow into it. It must have got bent somehow, but it's good enough for mock-up. So I'll have to get another one, but at least now I know what to match it up with. I got my power steering pump mounted. That's gonna work. But the good thing about mocking things up, like I was saying, is once I got the power steering pump on there, I said I couldn't figure out where the adjuster went. And then I got realizing, once I got looking at it, that this is it here. Now this goes on your small block Chev, you have 3 bolts for your motor mount. Now this here, your adjuster for your power steering gets sandwiched between the block and the motor mount. So if this was final assembly, I'd be pretty much screwed. I'd have to haul the motor up far enough to get the motor mount off, get this up, put the motor mount back on, and lower everything back down. So I'm glad I caught that in the mock-up. But it's coming along good. It's just about supper time, so probably head up here and get some supper, and not sure if I'm going to come down tonight or not, but chances are I probably will, because I'm getting a little nervous about my wiper motor. The wiper motor tucks up right in there, right in behind that valve cover, and with these big tall fabricated aluminum covers, I'm not sure if they're going to clear my wiper motor. And these are a nice cover. I mean, they have to be cleaned up and polished again, but it's what I need to clear my Giselle shaft rockers. So I'm really hoping that my wiper motor is going to clear. I'm sure it will, but I may come down tonight and put that on, and I may decide to stick around here and mock up my low car throttle cable. And then that's pretty much it, other than the shifter, and having a little bit of problems with that new B&M shifter. I'm a little disappointed in that. There's a lot of play, and I mean, you spend $400 on a shifter on something that's supposed to be well made, and you pay good money so you don't get junk, and there's a lot of play in the shifter handle side to side. And what that's causing problems with is trying to adjust my neutral safety and my backup switches. It's causing me some grief. I was talking to a friend of mine today. He gave a call to see how I was making out, and I told him about the shifter, and he suggested putting the cable on it, and that makes a lot of sense. That cable is stiff where it bolts fast to the front of the shifter and then hooks onto the shifting arm. So hopefully that'll stiffen it up enough that there's no side-to-side play, and I can get my switches adjusted. And if that's the case, later tonight or in the morning, I will set it in the console, and hopefully it'll line up with my other gauges, with my other holes for my other B&M hammer ratchet shifter I had in there. If not, I'll have to center it in the hole for the console, and mark it, drill it, and get that mocked up. Anyway, if I do anything else, I'll let you know. See y'all later.